Nicolas. Nicolas Rocha from the Cimmerian is my guest today. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you
You
for
look
having me.
you look very fabulous, by the way. You
Thank you. Thank you.
look very Conanish, Concurish today.
Thanks.
Now,
I try.
correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't today Mexican Independence Day?
It
Today,
is. It is. El grito.
El Grito, right?
Yeah,
Saludos, saludos, paisa.
yeah. Saludos.
Hey, let's get to it. A lot of exciting things have been going on with you lately, but just to redirect and to bring our listeners, viewers, what have you, uh, Nicolas Rocha, you were in the Death Kings, which was
Right.
a band that I really, as you know, enjoyed very much. Admired artistically, musically. Uh, you were going in different musical directions, and yet coming back and focusing it all creatively with an extreme heaviness. That
Yeah.
band is no longer, correct?
As a live band, no. As a like a studio project, it is.
Really, you're still pursuing that.
Yeah, yeah. I have music that I've written for it. Um, it's not something I wanted to give up so easily. So I decided to just kind of get quiet about it and invite a couple of other friends rather than keep the lineup I had last. Yeah,
So that project, was it safe to say, is your project?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right, so
yeah.
that's on hold for now, creatively, correct?
Yes, yeah.
So now I stumbled upon, this is really funny. So I stumbled upon this track by a band called, you might have to correct me because I am an LA Unified School District graduate. The Cimmerian, is that correct?
Cimmerian, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The rhymes with barbarian.
The Cimmerian, Conanish, the Cimmerian.
Yes.
I had no idea that was your band until I looked into it because I found that track. I thought that was very heavy. I really enjoyed it. And then lo and behold, this is the new project you're involved with.
Yeah, yeah. It's myself on bass vocals, um, a friend of mine named David Geen on guitars, and then a new guy named David Morales on drums.
Talk to me about the origins of this project and what made you go into a new direction here, because we'll get more in detail about the Cimmerian.
So the guitarist David and I had this kind of satanic panic thrash band for a few years called Septic Onslaught.
Satanic Panic?
Yeah, all the songs were about, you know, anything having to do with Satanism and the whole satanic panic movement in the 80s, you know, how people were all scared.
Right.
So we did a couple of EPs under that name, under Septic Onslaught. And then one day we were just talking and said, "Hey, we should do something that we're both kind of a lot more into and familiar with, you know, and that's like the doom stuff." So we actually decided to mix our like of doom and thrash, and that's how the Cimmerian came around
How long has the Cimmerian been around?
since last November.
Okay. Well, you released recently, correct me if I'm wrong, a 4-track EP entitled,
Yes, yeah,
Thrice Majestic.
yeah, yeah,
Let me just
yeah,
commend you on it. Let me first commend you on that. This is, listen, I'm sure critics or reviewers are going to say this is very high on fire-ish, very,
yes,
yeah, I'm sure you've already heard the comparisons,
yeah, yeah,
but it's really not. What I like here is this is destructively heavy. This is
yeah,
this project here in this music is catastrophically, devastatingly pleasurable. This is some heavy Conan ballads. You know what it
yeah.
seems like? It seems like you guys are trying to really just like break down the walls with your amplifiers while watching Conan and Tulsa Doom fucking anthems.
That's pretty much what we're going for. Like we're fine with the comparisons because uh, they're very clearly our influence. You know, like I think what we told ourselves at one point was like, let's do what High on Fire, Motorhead, Venom would do if we were in the band, in those bands, you know. and the Conan thing, of course, you know, we wanted to be as aggressive, as loud as we possibly could, still make it fun to listen to and fun to play. Most importantly for us, it's really fun playing these songs.
Do you enjoy this? And is this a different outlet for you aside from the Death Kings?
Yeah, it's very different.
Completely different.
Yeah, super different. This is, like I said, a lot more fun. This is a band that if I could, I would have wanted to have make this when I was, you know, super young and keep it going forever. You know, I'm lucky that I was able to keep the friendship with David on guitars and get the drummer we have, because we mix pretty well when we're all playing music together.
So what is the creative process for the Cimmerian? Do you write all the music or do you collectively come together? Talk to me about that.
It's a collective thing for sure. So you know, David brings in like the skeleton of the songs, you know, or like the blueprint of everything, you know, and we'll add the bass to it, you know, and we'll add the drums on top of that. And then after a couple of weeks of practicing together, you know, I'll start adding vocal melodies to everything. I kind of keep my lyrics a secret up until the very end when I'm recording, you know.
Why is that?
Uh, the lyric writing process, kind of, that's a very private thing for me. It's always been. So I do it on my own for the most part. You know, I'll get a couple of lines thrown at me here and there from the other guys, but I mostly, you know, especially if the song is based or influenced by something, I like to inundate myself with whatever that subject matter is, and I become a total nerd about whatever I'm writing about. So it's not just like surface material, you know, surface layer material. It's I make deep cuts references to everything that I write about.
Now, the subject matter, this is really interesting. I think you've admitted before or on your press release that this is Conan inspired.
Yeah, it's definitely Conan inspired. It's inspired by the works of the creator of Conan, Robert E. Howard.
Thank you for
He's got,
clarifying that.
yeah, he's got other material that he put out, like Cull the Conqueror from Atlantis. He wrote about a Solomon Kane, you know, Bran McMorn, a bunch of other adventurers, you know, and obviously Red Sonja is something that was also in there. Plus, there's a bunch of other writers that write about sword and sorcery. You know, Charles Saunders, Michael Moorcock. Uh, Not just that, but we also take influence from like a lot of the esoteric, mystical arts that used to be in, you know, in fashion back in the day. So it's stuff everybody's heard, but just our way of putting it out there. You know.
It's your rendition, your version of
Yeah, yeah.
this influential artistic literature and subject matter.
Yeah, yeah. Because even the title for the EP, Thrice Majestic, it's a reference to Hermes Trismegistus. You know, Trismegistus. You know, translates to thrice majestic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anybody that pays attention to lyrics or to the artwork that we're gonna do from now on, they'll find references to a bunch of cool shit that they probably heard of already, but maybe not. You know, not presented the way we're going to, either, you know, visually or musically.
You know what's interesting, and this is what I like about the Cimmerian and what you've accomplished is, and I'm sure you know because you're very involved in the music scene as well.
Yeah.
This is all subject matter that's been done before in one way or another, but this is very refreshing. And what I like about it is, as I mentioned before, it's deadly heavy, man. It really does work.
Yeah.
It gels.
Yeah.
Wow. There's some artists that have tried to go down this road, and I'm not going to mention names. I would love to, but I'm trying to stay positive and not fall into my toxic shit talking behaviors. But it doesn't work. You've managed to make this work. How did you manage to make it work? Is it because it's sincere and your dedication and devotion to it and appreciation is sincere? Or tell me.
I think this lets us, you know, we're already fans of the stuff we talk about, and this lets us keep being fans of it while we're playing the music for it, you know. So we're already, I mean, we do it seriously, obviously, because we're spending the time and the effort and everything. Uh, but we're fanboys of this stuff anyway. So I think what one of the purposes is to basically say, hey, listen to some cool shit about other cool shit, you know, and it lets us keep that kind of that fan approach of whatever we're talking about, whether it's Conan or some other sword wielding dude, or something that was mystical from back in the day, or some ritual from another culture. It's all cool stuff that we'd be reading about anyway. So let's us do it in a musical version.
And you know what's interesting is I haven't had the pleasure of seeing you. I think you've only played one show, correct?
Yeah, one show.
Let's mention you have a show coming up at the Transplant Brewery with Behold the Monolith. That's on what, the 29th of this month?
The 30th.
The
It's a
30th.
Friday. Yeah.
And that's at the Transplant Brewery in Palmdale.
Transfans Brewing. Yeah. They announced that show, and we my wife and I actually went to Psycho, where Behold the Monolith played. They put on a great set there. And we figured, if we're gonna try to start getting shows, let's try to do it with bands that we not only like, but that we know. So I thought that'd be a cool one to get onto, and thankfully, thanks to the owners at Transplants, we were able to get on that slot.
That's a great bill, by the way. Two powerful LA bands that have been crushing it for years, but that you should definitely, when I mean you, I mean the viewer or the listener, should definitely check out the Cimmerian. The music that you're writing goes very well in a live setting. When you played your first show, how was the response to that, and the anthems of conquering and raping and pillaging?
It was cool. It was a little. Well, I was nervous because we ended up
You
being
still
the
get
last
nervous?
band.
You still get
Oh,
nervous, Nick?
every single time, every single time.
No, you got the crawl sword and the shield of fucking of conquest.
Yeah, I'll get nervous from I've gotten nervous from my first show up until I'll get nervous up to my last show. But we ended up being the last band that night. It was the three bands on a Sunday, so it was kind of the odds were stacked against us, especially for being our first show.
Right.
But the other bands were super cool, super nice. A bunch of those guys stayed for our set, as well as a bunch of the people that went to go see the other bands. We managed to have a few friends out there for us, and it was fun. It was energetic. People started circle pitting inside the little place and everything, and that was fun.
So did you enjoy hearing these songs, these new Cimmerian songs in a live setting and in a live amplified deadly manner?
Yeah, it's one thing to hear them, quietly when I'm trying to learn them, with with David on guitar, or when we're hashing out the drums. But once everything comes together, it's massive, because I mean, speaking again for myself, I've always liked playing louder if I could help it. You know, it covers up any any uh any mistakes that I commit, or any lack of talent that I might have. Um, but yeah, for me, loud music is the way to go. I love it. I love playing it, and these songs sound very good loud and live.
What are the plans for Cimmerian? You released the EP. That's out now. That's on what label is that on?
We self-released that.
Okay,
That was totally ourselves.
so that's on what, Bandcamp?
On Bandcamp, and we actually have physical copies as well. We're running pretty short on our first order of CDs.
Make sure you save me one.
Yeah, I got yours. Um, it's been selling pretty well on Bandcamp. It's the four songs. We're trying to do a 7-inch next. We have some cool ideas for a 7-inch, and we'd like to do an album pretty soon. So I think by maybe end of the year, we'll be planning to record again.
Well, you're off to a great start.
Yeah, we have over 10 songs waiting to be recorded, and we're already talking ideas about a second album. So this is a band that's come together pretty quickly, and and it's been working on material very quickly. We work very well together, like I said.
Yeah,
You know?
it sounds like you guys are very productive and really enjoying each other's uh, process of creating and playing.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. You know, and it's cool working with people like like David on guitar. It's funny because I'm in a band with two Davids. Um, David on guitar, he and I we talk a lot throughout the week, throwing ideas at each other and just talking about stuff to inspire each other with. So it's good being in a band with people like that. It's good having a trust where you can step on stage or even at practice, you can step into the room and kind of trust that the other people there are gonna know their parts and not let you down either.
Do you find it refreshing with this new project?
Yeah, yeah. It's because it's not something that I've done before, you know. Um, and like I said, it's fun to play this music. It's fast, it's aggressive, and then when it gets slow, it's slow and heavy, and that's something that's always, any of those, any of those, or a combination of those is something I like doing anyway. So the fact that this band gives me both, it's pretty satisfying.
You know what's interesting is here in Los Angeles, there's such a huge underground extreme music scene
Yeah.
of all genres. But I find that your band, the Cimmerian, would actually fit well in the different extremity genres of Los Angeles. Have you Are you thinking about playing outside the so-called doom stoner realm?
Yeah, I mean, I've got buddies, and that play other types of music, and I'm already talking to a friend of mine that they play old school death metal. We're talking about setting up a show at some point together. Um, I don't know how well we'd go with black metal bands, but anybody that'll have us, I'm pretty sure we'll play. I think the shows that we've got coming up, it's already a good variety of music to be included with. So I think we'll be able to hold our own and entertain people. At least if one person walks out satisfied, then our job is done.
Right. Let's mention the EP is out now. The Cimmerian Thrice Majestic. You can find that on all social streams.
Yeah,
And
Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Bandcamp has it. We've got CDs.
you can
We're
purchase
working on new stuff.
it, which is what's most important. You could hold it in your hand. And then you have a
Yeah,
show coming up, as I mentioned, September 30th at Trans Brewery in Palmdale with Behold the Monolith. Any other shows coming up?
October 8th, we're playing in Long Beach at Supply and Demand. That's going to be with the Mountaineer,
Oh,
Ikoria, and Destroy Judas.
oh, dude.
Yeah, so
That's
from
gonna
one heavy show to another heavy show. Yeah.
that's gonna be catastrophic right there.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be a good night. I think we might be the odd men out that night because we totally don't fit with the other guys. But Dan from Destroy Judas asked if we'd play that show, and he's a good friend, so of course,
Wow,
anytime.
that's gonna be that's a must attend. That's when again?
That's October 8th in Long Beach at Supply and Demand.
Do you have any other shows or events planned in the future aside from those two?
Uh, no, hey, we just started the year pretty much as far as playing live. So I'm trying to get shows booked. I'd love to play San Diego or up north. We've got buddies in both places, so uh, pretty sure something will happen at some point soon. But yeah, right now we're just keep writing new songs. Want to make sure that the set list doesn't get stale.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
yeah,
I mean, I'm looking forward to both events. You released the EP. Are you planning on? You mentioned of releasing anything soon. Are you going to be going to the studio anytime soon?
yeah, probably for the 7-inch. We've got maybe 4 songs we want to do for that. The 7-inch itself is going to be 2, but we want to do a couple of surprises, hopefully. So that might happen at some point, maybe November, December, and then soon in the next year, pretty soon after the next year, we want to go in and record the album and just make that an all-out attack.
Will the album consist of the material from the 7-inch, or is that all new material as well?
It's going to be all different songs. Yeah,
You guys
yeah,
really are you guys really are creatively productive, huh? You got that much material?
yeah. We've got like pretty much every week we step into the room. We've got new ideas. We talk about future song ideas all the time. Like I said, David, the guitarist, and I, we throw ideas or references to one another throughout the week, and we hash it out, and becomes a song. And at some point, we'll start playing that out, record it.
And
Real,
do you find that creatively the subject matter is a never-ending stream of creativity?
yeah. Because even though people have talked about it before, it's always a different perspective, even if it's on the same subject matter. And I like the Conan stuff. There's been countless bands that talk about Conan and all that other type of subject. But not to sound conceited or anything, but they haven't heard me sing about it in the way that I sing about it or the way that I talk about it.
Your
And
your interpretation.
yeah, exactly. So and I've had conversations with people about music and bands, even with you. And how pretty in depth I can get
Don't don't
about certain things.
don't reveal my sentiments on certain bands, please. Not
No,
on
I won't.
the
No, I won't. But
not on the
it's
record.
yeah. So yeah, so I like I said, I like getting down to the core of a story, or like a person in history, or a ritual, or a culture. I'm very big on like cultural topics and stuff like that. I'm very big on like anthropology, and history, as a lot of people are. But I like bringing topics out that maybe haven't been talked about as much as I would like to talk about them, and in the way that I do. Um, so yeah, it's I think it given that resource pool, we won't run out of subjects to talk about.
I got to tell you, I got to mention this again. This new project that you have, the Cimmerian, has such an energetic juvenation feel to it that when I listen to it, I think I could go outside with a sword and conquer maybe fucking a couple blocks in
And
my neighborhood. But luckily,
pa-
luckily, reality and the LAPD and the neighborhood steps in.
yeah, right. Part of that energy too is our drummer is way younger than the guitarist and me. And it's funny because we'll go over an hour's worth of music in the room when we're rehearsing, and he'll bust out sometimes like, all right, let's do that again. So we'll do it again, you know?
So in a way, you're training with this new percussionist,
Yeah, we have to. We have to keep up.
building
He's a
up the
super
stamina,
energetic guy.
building up the stamina. Huh?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, it's we're preparing to deliver an oral assault, so we have to be at some level of physique, right?
Yeah, right. Hey, let me ask you this. You're gonna think I'm busting your balls, but I'm serious. Most bands that dwell in this subject matter, realm of creativity, they give themselves these really outrageous fucking stupid names, as I think you know what I'm talking about. What made you guys stick with your God-given names?
Um,
Why aren't you Dragon Slayer Lord or whatever the fuck?
well, because like I said, we're just we're just showing that we're fans of this type of stuff, and I think this one is one of the most kind of non-pretentious approaches that we've done in any of the music we played before. Um, we don't want to use the goofy stage names because,
Thank you.
for one, we not that I have anything against them because I
I
used to use
do.
them in the past as well. But like, what are we gonna hide? Like using a stage name, like it's still Nick, David, and David. You know, people people are gonna talk to us, before and after the show and be like, "Hey, man, you're not, you know, Elric, the Dragon Slayer. You're
Right.
Nick. I know you as Nick, the blind dude that goes to shows. Or you're David from that other band. So
Yeah, well,
so
thank you for doing that. Let me ask you something. You just opened the door to that. You recently lost your vision, so you are blind. Is that
yeah, totally blind. Yeah,
totally blind?
yeah,
That's very inspirational to anyone else that has not just that. I don't want to say affliction, but that
yeah,
condition or whatever. Do you find that that also is creatively inspiring? Because what I'm trying to get at is vocally, you're very fierce on this release. And I haven't had the pleasure of seeing you live yet, but very powerful.
yeah.
Do
Um,
you think that comes from what recently happened to you of losing your vision?
uh, yes and no. So
Do you feel
the
comfortable talking about that? Because if not, we could just move on.
no, it's all right. Vocally, I wanted to do something that felt a lot more um fun. First of all, I wanted to kind of go for like for example, I before I even recorded, I was kind of worrying about what kind of vocal approach I was going to have. Um, and I told the guy that was recording us, his name's Bob Frank at Minor Chord Studios.
He did a
He
really good job, by the way. Let's mention that again. Who produced and recorded this? They did a
uh,
fantastic job.
Robert Frank at Minor Chord Studios. He
Mhm,
uh he was actually the drummer for the thrash band that David and I had.
mhm.
Um, so he's super nice guy. He's super awesome guy. And I was worrying about what kind of vocal approach, and he kind of calmed me down. And he's like, "Well, who would you want to hear on this type of music?" You know. And I was like, "Well, I want to kind of go for like a Max Cavalera type of bark, where he sounded angry, you know." And I gave it a shot, and I ended up with what I got. Not that it sounds like Max or anything, but where I ended up was where I liked being, and it fit. The other guys liked it. I got the green light to go ahead and keep doing what I was doing, so I did. And part of that does kind of come from being angry that I can't see reactions. I don't have I don't have anything to base the reaction. If I don't hear people either saying we suck or getting into the music, I have nothing else to go off of. And that kind of angers me a little bit. Um, so I just say fuck it. If we're doing barbaric sounding music, let me sing angrily. Let me have fun with this. Let me kind of tap into the the angry approach I would have had as a younger person if I could see. And that's kind of how I bring. That's what I bring to the vocals anyway, as far as my blindness and all that.
Do you find I got to tell you, I got to mention this again. When I listened to this release, and I was pleasantly surprised that you're a part of it. One of the things that I was processing is you're a fucking monster on this, and I, since I know you personally,
Yeah.
I felt that the energy that you're expelling on here is so powerful. And let's be frank, there are what happened to you, I don't want to say is tragic, because it's not. If anything, I think you become even more of a person who can actually see in a world where people have vision and don't see shit. They're blind.
Right.
I think you're an inspiration. You were an inspiration prior to losing your vision, but I think now you display true, what I would classify as strength, honor, and dignity, because you go up there doing what you're doing in a sincere way and not letting anything, not even your vision going, hinder you from your goals and your achievements. And I think you've conquered that very well. So I commend
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you for that. I do have to, you know, make sure that I acknowledge, I have a really good support system. You know, I have a great wife. I have great friends. You know, I have a great band right now. So thanks to them, I don't get caught up in my own misery as much. You know, and if I do, I really do try to keep it to a minimum. Sometimes I do get in my own head about things, but I can't, because everybody that's been good with me or good to me, they do things on their own, and I tell myself, well, they're fighting as much as they can for themselves. I need to do the same for me, right? I need to stay creative. I need to keep my chops up on the bass or whatever. I need to keep being a writer of lyrics that people are going to be into, and so yeah, it's kind of like they don't let me fail either. So I owe it to them, as well.
And what a way to display it with this magnificent EP that you released. Thrice Majestic, the Cimmerian is,
Cimmerian, yeah.
LA Unified, dude. Give me a break. Wilson High School fucking graduate, but yet illiterate, fucking nonverbal as fuck. The Cimmerian, Thrice Majestic is out now. Go on all social media streaming sites and your Bandcamp and Facebook, whatever. You could purchase
Yeah.
a copy. September 30th, you're playing at Transplants Brewery in Palmdale with Behold the Monolith, another fantastic band. I just had them on the podcast an episode prior. Another fantastic band. What a great bill. And then October 8th, correct?
October 8th in Long Beach at Supply and Demand.
With Destroy Judas, and who are the other bands?
Destroy Judas, Mountaineer, and Ikoria. And that's going to be, that's good. All those bands are great. At the Transplants, we're going to be playing with a couple of other bands called Deism and Dawn Fades, which are also pretty heavy as well. So both shows are stacked. If anybody has a chance to go to either show or both, you're in for a good night.
Yeah, and both shows, make sure you take some sort of protective hearing, because you will lose your hearing. I've been a veteran of that.
I've been working. Yeah, I've been working on my my bass tone. David's got a great guitar tone right now. We want to make sure people enjoy it as much as we've enjoyed creating those tones. So it'll be plenty loud.
Nicolas Rocha on El Día del Grito de Nacional de Mexico. Thank you for
Nacional.
Thank you for
thank you.
50, and may you rape and pillage and conquer.
I'll pillage. I don't know about the other one.
Where the Cimmerian may go. Thank you for being on the 50, man. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. I'll see everybody out there.
All right, Nicolas. I thought that went very well. I thought I covered everything, but is there anything that I left out that maybe you thought I should cover?
No, that was pretty good.
It's great seeing you, man. You look cool with those fucking shades, bro.
Thanks, man. I didn't know if I should wear them or Vial siete with my closed eyes.
Well, I mean, listen, I say this in the heterosexual way. You're a sexy fucker regardless, so it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Hey, but thank you for taking the time, bro. I'm gonna have my guy edit this, and the minute it's up, I'll throw it out there and spread it like fucking VD.
Thank you again. Thanks to say thanks to Jeremy
I will, my
for me,
friend.
please.
Say hello to your
All
wife
right.
and you take care.
Thanks. All right, I will. Thanks.
Here,
You
bro.
take care.
Cheers.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. All right. We're good, Jeremy.